at a high level, why would somebody want
I love your
want
question.
this building?
So, look, I mean, the guy that owned it had the vision to keep it long term. He did all the necessity upgrades that would encourage you to go buy something, right?
Yeah.
Purpose built, all the energy.
Like it is
upgrades.
ready for the MLI program, just not going to get the 50-year.
Exactly. Yeah, you can still go. You're just not going to get the full 100
You
points.
probably get up to 45 years, and you're going to pay a bit more on the premium, right?
Correct.
Welcome back to REI Hot Seat. I've got David Hulshof here, and we're talking about another purpose-built building. Purpose-built?
Yep.
Okay. I have no idea about this building, so I'm going to learn.
That's what makes it good. Yeah.
Dave's going to tell me all about it.
Yeah.
All right, so you get the authentic experience here. I've never heard anything about it. Dave,
Good.
tell me the
Perfect.
story.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So this is on the smaller side. It's a 6-unit in London. Probably going to keep it exclusive for now. I'm not going to go into market with it. So what happened with this is the guy purchased this quite some time ago, did a whole bunch of renovations, actually got it fully vacant, and with the whole vision to go through MLI Select energy efficiency. Mm-hmm. And as you guys may be aware, they made some changes to the energy efficiency. So he actually just pivoted and decided he wanted to get rid of it, to sell it.
Okay, so we're seeing some of the fallout from the change, although a lot of people are happy about the change.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Yeah. It's probably another tangent for another day, but I think there's probably some more changes. We're hearing some grumblings.
Oh, more changes. Yeah. It sounds like that program's never stayed the same for too long. So
No. I think the changes, so we are hearing, are going to be relative to affordability. Might be positive changes coming forward, but we'll see.
One thing we can be sure is just like they're going to probably want to incentivize more building, which their last change did that, and they'll probably continue to.
Yeah. And you think like they don't want everybody funneling everything to energy efficiency. New construction and affordability would probably make the most sense.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you know roughly when this was built?
1970.
1970.
Yeah.
Okay. So 6, probably fairly spacious units then.
Yeah.
Are
Good
they all
size.
like 2 beds?
They're all 2 beds.
Yeah. Is this like one of those typical walk-ups that you would see? You got the one that's sort of in the basement.
You got it. Yeah. So it's got the 2 that are in the basement, both 2 beds, and then everything above grade.
Okay.
So what we did was we lowered the rent on the below grade.
Okay. So you got those at 1,700. That's pretty conservative, I think, for a 2-bed in London.
Yeah. And so the way this is going to be done is fully vacant. All units are fully renovated to the spec of energy efficiency through MLI. So new windows, new doors, heat pumps, floors, kitchens, bathrooms, everything.
So the tenants are going to be fully paying their own heat then?
Correct. Yeah.
And is there like baseboard backup?
There's baseboard backup.
Is it electric baseboard?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. And then everything's going to be metered except for water.
Okay.
And so basically the idea here is the seller is open to tenanting the building himself or allowing the buyer to do it. So what we did was try to look through somewhat conservative on the rents. The rents are kind of all over the place these days. So we took a little bit of a conservative approach to it. Nothing crazy.
Do you like approximate area of London?
I would say it's like a C plus area. It's not the best area. It's not the worst.
Or is this like southeast London or?
Gun to my head off the top. Of
you're not a London guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the map in my brain and I don't want to guess. But it's
so I can imagine.
Yeah, it's not. It's certainly not the worst area, and it's not the best.
Yeah. Okay. So I can imagine the type of area. Now I will say like the purpose built element goes a long way, and even in not perfect areas, you can generally, in my experience, attract an okay tenant.
Yeah. Well, we know the guy who owns a building beside this, and we actually based our rents off of some of his.
So you got some very good comps.
Yeah, like real world data. And so we gave his numbers, and then we just reduced a little bit to be sure.
So we skipped over my favorite part of this, and that's at a high level. Why would somebody want this building?
So look, I mean, the guy that owned it had the vision to keep it long term. He did all the necessity upgrades that would encourage you to go buy something, right? Purpose built, all the energy.
Like it is ready for the MLI program, just not going to get the 50-year.
Exactly. Yeah, you can still go. You're just not going to get the full 100 points.
You probably get up to 45 years, and you're going to pay a bit more on the premium, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so which I'll show you in another sheet, we underwrote it the same way I would do all these deals, which is the old program. So if you can qualify for the old program and the deal makes sense under the old program, the rest is just good juice on the deal.
Okay, so to clarify for anybody who doesn't live and breathe this all day long, the old program is the original CMHC program, which has been around for like longer than I ever was even buying houses.
Yeah.
So that's the 85% max. You can do 40-year amortization, and it had a pretty hefty insurance premium that gets tacked on to your mortgage on top.
Yeah.
But you get the better rates.
Correct.
So that should offset.
Yep. Well said.
Okay, so
great summary.
That's the summary. And now if you can get that, you might be able to get the MLI too. But if the deal works at the 85% loan to value, you should be happy.
Yeah.
And I remember the sentiment back in the day, and very limited, but from the people who had tried it, said, oh, what's the point? CMHC claws back your valuations. I don't think that's the case anymore. It seems like CMHC is very supportive of the high valuations.
We're not fighting too much on values these days, especially in markets like this. And you look, we underwrite all the deals using their numbers, right?
Right. So there's no chance for misunderstanding. You're using their numbers.
Their numbers. So that's where it tends to work pretty accurately. Like based on this, I don't think I'm very confident you're not going to have any issues. Value wise.
Yeah. Okay. So let's look at like cash flow picture here. Like what's somebody expecting if they invest in this? How much are they going to have to put down, and what can they expect to get out of it?
Great question. So just to summarize, we did $1,850 for the above grade units, $17 for the below, and then $50 a month parking. So
so a little extra income for that.
Yeah. In-suite laundry. So you're good there. So again, when you start looking at these things, in-suite laundry, we could probably pull those rental figures up. But we don't want to base this deal too heavily around that. So
no, it's better to be conservative.
So jumping over to the next sheet. So this, again, just for viewers, this is where we layer on mortgages and what that's going to look like. So if we go through CMHC's old program, 85% loan to value, we're underwriting this at about 4.5% interest rate.
And we did just have the interest rates drop yet again. So bond yields should come down a little bit more in the near future.
Yeah. So just a little aside, like if you're going to do a 5-year with CMHC, you need to hit a 1.3 debt cover if it's all residential. If you're going to go to a 10-year, it's a 1.2 debt cover. So this qualifies for the 5-year because it hits a 1.3.
What kind of rate difference would there be from their 5-year to their 10-year?
We looked at the 5-year just this morning, and I think the difference, I don't quote me, but on the actual bond yields was like 15 or 20 basis point difference. So it's not huge.
Yeah.
I don't know what rates they're applying to that.
Yeah, like what rate premium. Yeah. Like it's
I think it's 130 to 110 range, I think.
130 premium with CMHC.
Point,
normally the banks are like 200 to 250. So that's why CMHC claws it down, right?
Yeah. So gun to my head, I couldn't quote exactly, but I think if we're 4.5.
Well, traditionally, the 10 years were always like a big bump. I remember in my mortgage days, like they were a big bump on top of the regular 5-year.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I think there's a huge advantage to a 10-year.
Let me see if we can just pull it up quick. So here's a 5-year CMB, 3.09.
Yeah, Canada mortgage bond.
Yeah. So that gives you some guidance. I mean, if you're 110 on that, you're what, 410, 420?
Yeah, and they're floating. This is good context. So they're floating. Well, in my experience, floating until you close, but you might get it differently. You can lock it in sooner with some banks. Yeah. Do you typically see that your clients are able to lock them in?
Yeah. A lot of these deals they have. Yeah. We've seen a lot of that. For a while there was a bunch of rate buy downs, which was pretty brutal. So, all that to say, I think 4.5 we're probably.
Yeah, it seems like you're safe at 4.5.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised to see that come down in the near future. Those yields come down, but we'll see.
Yeah, and again, the whole vision for this is a filter enough. Like we don't want to say that this is a gospel. This is enough for us to go, hey, this is a good, compelling deal. And then let's do something with it. Get it under contract. Bring in qualified mortgage brokers to iron out these numbers.
Yeah. This is the sort of quick and dirty. Not that this sheet is quick and dirty. This is pretty elaborate. But
it's my baby.
But if it passes this test, then you can go on and go get your mortgage, and you're in a ballpark that works, or you should be.
Yeah. So you asked the question, what I like about it. What's a compelling reason to buy it? So if we circle back under the old program with CMHC. So again, this will qualify for the new, more advantageous program, but again through the lens of the old one. Your $300,000, give or take, cash to close, and your 1.32 debt cover. So you're about $23,000.
23,000 in annual cash flow is nice. That's definitely a good start. And then if you can boost those rents more over time, then that should get better.
Yeah. So if we go down the line, so these are the expenses here, right? So if we go down the line, there's a few things we would obviously need to iron out a little bit more as we go forward. But one of the things is maintenance and labor. This is effectively a brand new building, and you're, $5,000, you're $400 and change a month that you're saving. For the foreseeable future, probably not going to spend that much.
Right.
Certainly later on.
Yeah, cash in the short term is going to be higher, but it's good to have that reserve in there.
Yeah. So, all things just kind of running down this list, cash on cash is a little over 7.5%.
That's
pretty healthy.
That's decent compared to a lot of what I saw in the last year and a half.
Yeah. Decent. Probably not even a strong enough word. It's pretty fantastic. It's priced, like, I know I'm on the sales side of this, but it's certainly priced right to move. So what we're seeing right now is there's a disparity, right? There's people who truly are, they want to sell, they want to do business, and then there's stuff that's just sitting around. If you're going to go sell, price it actually transact. And you're seeing that. Like, this is a good, strong sale price for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anything else we should cover about it? I mean, I know I had a vision for it. Your typical walk up basement units on either side, and then 2 units stacked on top of each of those, and then the hallways down the middle. So that's the building type. You're gonna have some common utilities here for the meters in the hallways. You got some cleaning needed. So under salaries, people got to clean those hallways. Yeah,
and I would suspect that like our utility capture is probably again a little bit high, but we're at 25% operating costs as a percent of rent, so that's probably accurate, probably good.
Yeah.
So for this, it's not a lot to do. You just
most you see are in the 25, more like 30%. Yeah. 30. So this is a little lower on the operating cost side.
Yeah. So this will come with an ESA was done. So clean environmental.
Okay.
It will have the energy efficiency attestation report. So just proof that everything's been done. So the seller would like the buyer to bridge to CMHC. So just for context, to kind of wrap this up faster, it's priced accordingly to do that. But certainly there's room for negotiation with respect to allowing the buyer to go to CMHC. We just have to adjust the purchase price. And we were doing that a lot. Because right now that's just simple numbers and math, right? So if I'm going to buy your deal and I'm going to go to CMHC, you need to give me a lot of time to do that.
Yeah, of course.
Bridge.
And how much time do you think they would need? 3-4 months?
Yeah. It's sort of waivers, like it's all over the map, but 4 months is a good handle, assuming that the buyer has all their ducks in a row. Where a lot of the lag time comes is the brokers are calling the clients and saying, "Hey, we need your corporate org." Oh, okay, I'll get you that. Happens in a week. Oh, I need this. Happens in a week, right? But that's certainly an option. The idea how we've priced this is the buyer's going to come in and do a bridge, which obviously shortens that time.
And if the buyer comes in and does a bridge, would they be going to like an RBC, getting a mortgage, and then asking RBC to bring them into the CMHC program at that point?
Yeah, you don't even have to go to a
you don't have to start at the bank. You can start directly with CMHC.
I used to work at the bank, so a little like they're slow to process things. But anybody would do that. That's exactly right. They're going to help obviously bring you to CMHC and then deal with it in the interim. So you're going to end up closing faster, but there's costs associated to that. So as the buyer, it's going to be
you're going to have extra sets of legal fees.
You got it.
And potentially extra sets of broker fees.
Yeah.
So factoring that in.
Yep. Yeah. So, and again, buyer or seller, open to discussion on who wants the tenant. We've done a lot of these style deals where both parties just work together. So somebody's primary and the other person's just signing off on it.
Sure.
Because you can imagine if you're the owner of it, you're selling it, you want to have a say on who the tenants are in case this deal doesn't
100%.
close. If you're the buyer, you want the same thing.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, me as a buyer, I'm probably going to definitely have my finger on the pulse. Like how I want a final say on all the tenants.
Yeah.
But for sure, I'd love to let somebody else take the lead with it.
Yeah, we were doing that right now in the 35 unit in London, which is basically the owners of it right now are they're going out and canvassing and then bringing them to the buyers and saying, "Hey, do you sign off on this too?" So,
perfect.
Anyways, both options are available.
Nice. Okay, so I think we've more or less covered what there is to cover on this deal. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. So, want to talk a little bit about the market and what's happening?
Things are picking up.
Yeah.
I think with just a stir that's happening, everybody's kids are back to school and rates are dropping.
Yeah.
I think we're certainly busier now than before.
Yeah.
And stuff's transacting, right? Stuff that was sitting, you're getting sellers that are adjusting a little bit to actually do transactions for a little while.
Yeah.
They're stuck, and buyers are coming. So
Because last time we talked about this was just before this rate decrease, and that happened a couple days ago now.
Yep.
So for when this airs, that'll be last week. But it was already getting to that point where you're seeing like sellers are kind of getting a little bit of confidence. Hey, rates are coming down.
Yeah,
we're gonna be doing some business now. And I guess that's probably going to continue. So there's this, we're in a transitional period, and deals can definitely get done in that period.
We were at ear tournament actually. And I think some of the sentiment, which has been shared a while, is there's just no good deals, and that we keep hearing that, but there really are. I think we chatted about it before too, but a lot of this stuff is off market, exclusive, just so people can have a tighter handle on who the buyers are. Right? Like this, to circle back to this deal, this deal will be sold. There's no doubt. It's priced right. It's a good quality building. It really comes down to who the buyers are, right? And we're almost on defense at this point to figure out who's going to be the right fit. And so that's why you're seeing all this stuff gravitating towards exclusive off market as opposed to on market.
Yeah, which we've talked about the benefits of that too. Yeah. There's obviously a lot of benefits from a seller standpoint to control the information.
Yeah, and people are just. I think people are getting back to work. Right.
Yeah.
It's September now, and I think people are starting to focus, and we've got a lot of buyers that are coming out, and there's good deals. We're putting some strong deals together.
That's the one positive of fall being here, because I don't like winter or fall or any cold weather at all. It's just like, people are back in work mode.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, summer's great, but it's great when people pick up their phone, when people send you stuff that they're supposed to do, get stuff done, and business and deals are getting done.
It's funny, you're getting even your emails, like your emails are being responded to in the same day you sent it. But in the summer, it's 2-3 days, and I'm getting emails back. So I'm with you. I share that sentiment. It's nice. It's nice that things happen a lot faster now.
They do. So if we had a silver lining to the horrible weather, and then also you can go somewhere else for the winter. So
work remotely.
Yeah.
But I listen, there's more to come. We've got some more stuff coming out as well. We actually have another 8-unit in London that's also vacant randomly, different area. So we'll probably be able to share that.
Another vacant. Is it purpose built as well?
That one's not purpose built.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you see, like when you get into the non-purpose built, I mean, I know there's such a spectrum. There's ones that are like cobbled together, and then there's some that just really work.
Yeah.
What do you see more of?
In terms of what works?
Yeah, like I find the layouts, like some of them, like it just worked out fantastically, and then some of them it didn't.
I think if you go through enough, you start to get the sense where you're walking through, and you're. My thing is, can you really conceptualize how things are working? When you got to walk the building 2 or 3 times and you're confused on the layout, it's probably not good. But I'm just a numbers guy, so if it comes down to it, we just need to adjust some things, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's a higher maintenance that we want to
exactly.
apply to it, right?
It's going to be slightly higher maintenance sometimes. Other times it might just be slightly lower rent because the tenants are a little bit confused.
Yep.
And I'm willing to take that unit if you give me a discount. And so it's just a slight adjustment. Yeah,
and some of these, like this particular one we're talking about, the 8-unit, I mean, it's going to be trading at a very fair price. If that were purpose built, the price per unit would be substantially higher.
Right. So you can definitely benefit. And I know an investor, I've had him on my podcast many times, and like his bread and butter was buying. I'm not saying this is bad, but he would just buy like anything. Bad building quality didn't matter. Just get, and it created a ton of wealth for him, and cash flowed like crazy. So even if they're not perfect layouts, it can be fantastic.
When I used to do private wealth, it used to be the thing people would say, well, would you do this investment? It's like, it really circles down to like, is this a good building? Is this a good buy? It's like, does it fit what your criteria is? Right.
Yeah.
So are you, presumably in a lot of cases, there's more opportunity in non-purpose build to do a BRRRR. I would think, all things considered, because you're buying it at a much lower purchase price, there's a lot more to be done. But it's probably a lot more work.
Yeah.
Right? And the longevity of the building, you're going to presumably, for most cases, if we look at it in total, you're going to have more maintenance issues. Probably, right? Because you're hodgepodging it.
You're gonna come find stuff that you didn't know about. Yeah.
And you're gonna have more tenant turnover, as you said. So all of those things can genuinely be positives if if it fits what your ultimate goal is, right? So your friend that made a fortune, it's very likely, because these non-purpose belts are where a lot of this opportunity comes if you want to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
Then there's other stuff. This is kind of the other side of it, is a very compelling deal, but you're not going to strip out all your capital on this deal in 2 years, right? But your entrance points, you're in for it for $300,000 and you're over a 7% cash on cash. Which deal's better? Well, it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, exactly. Right? You're going to be a little bit more hands-on with the non-purpose build.
Yeah, and
a property manager could do all that, but there's going to be a bit more work to it.
Yeah, and presumably more calls, more headaches, and that usually means more money. So it really, we get that all the time. Is which is better? It's like, well, which more closely aligns with what your goals are is probably the better way to say it.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. All right, Dave, another good episode.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be back again next week. Guys, if you made it this far, show the channel some love. If you're listening on Spotify or one of the podcast platforms, 5-star ratings and reviews, please. Let's get the word out there, because I think that there's a lot of gold nuggets laid down on this show. And I don't have my podcast anymore, so let's grow this thing.
There we go.
Anyways, yeah. So also the insiders list.
Yes.
So if you want to be an REI Hot Seat Insider, that's the list you go on to get showered with value. You're going to get deals thrown at you, deal of the week, so that you can evaluate. See a lot of the stuff in the format, sort of like we go through in this show, but in email format, where you get to take a look. So obviously this is multifamily centric. And anything else to add to that?
No, deals of the week is going out today, and I think there are 5
deals of the week,
5 exclusive off markets that are on that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And is it different each week? Like you have
different each week.
Okay. So
now some stuff will kind of carry over, but this is all fresh, new exclusive stuff.
Because not everybody's like in a position to buy. Some people are, for sure. But I mean, regardless of where you're at, you join the list, you kind of get to see what's going on, what's out there, and give you an idea for when the time is right. Yeah.
And we've been doing a lot more intake call. A lot of people have subscribed and signed up. So we've been doing a lot of intake calls, and some of them are, I had one yesterday. They're 6 months out from their ready to transact journey. They got a lot of single families and stuff, and those are great. So his thing was, hey, is this too premature? I said, no. This is good timing. So we like having the conversations.
Well, and keep watching the show in the meantime, because we're going to keep digging into the deals, and by the time you're ready to go, you'll have evaluated dozens.
Yeah.
So
no, it's fantastic.
Cool. All right, guys. Thank you, and we'll see you again next week.
Nice.